6:26 on Morning Barbados. We return with our segment, The Price of Everything, with our financial consultant, Jeremy Stephen. But one of the great things about this show is that not everything has a price. Tickets. Some of them are even free. We are giving away 2 tickets to the Piccadilly Crop semi-finals at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium tomorrow, Friday, starting at 7 p.m. All you've got to do is call us here at 228-5562 and 228-5563. Be the first to call, give your name to the producer, and these tickets are yours. The phone lines are open. We're standing by. Feel free to call if you want to attend the semi-finals. So we're back. Jeremy, before we went to the break, we were talking about the whole concept of foreign direct investment, the discretionary income among the tourists that are still coming, them coming out of their own version of recession, and you wanted to get into another aspect of it. We interrupted you, so I'm gonna let you hold forth.
Actually, you put me I have to attack this thing from a different perspective. Actually, one thing that we cannot afford to leave out is how is government going to make its money? Yes, we have all these projections going forward. S&P feel quite positive about the economy, so that they didn't even downgrade downgrade our debt, for instance. Now, here's the thing. One of the strategies that we have to be aware of, let's just put tourism on the back burner for now. One of the strategies that government has to be aware of right now is how will they get money to fund whatever projects it's doing. Again, they're being advised from the central bank and also from very private economists and even from myself to cut expenditure, or at least to manage its expenditure much more efficiently. And there are numerous ways to go about it. But the fact is this, it needs money right now. It needs money right now. And where are they getting that money from? So what you guys might remember, if you were, because a lot of Bajans seem to be very aware of it, what you guys might remember is that the Treasury bill rates were quite juicy earlier this year. And lots of commercial banks and, well, non-bank financial institutions, so credit unions and whatnot, and the NIS, after they had this huge inflow of 182 million into their coffers from the sale to Emira, were very well investing in these short-term notes, these treasuries, because people, well, had an appetite for short-term investments. Nobody knows what the future holds, particularly in a prolonged recession, prolonged recession. Nobody really has a long-term appetite, okay? So treasury bills were quite juicy. They were offering a nice rate. But the fact is this, what we have to do, yes, I'm talking about how governments are financing it, but what it means for you, Barbados. What we have to do is to observe closely what the banks are looking for out there in terms of the type of products. People aren't going in for as many mortgages as before. I mean, it's evidenced by the fact that so much real estate is up for sale and hardly moving on the market. So you have to think, how are the banks going to make their money? And yes, they might have been investing a lot in treasury bills, but the fact is this, it seems as if it's going to become slightly tougher, if certain things don't happen, slightly tougher to get that loan that you always wanted, and they will be looking more at short-term products. So it might be the best time to buy a car, to be honest. You might be getting some good rates, because those rates are going to fall even artificially, because lots of money went out the circle flow into government for domestic financing, so it means that they need, well, the rates are going to adjust down lower. Now, when I spoke to you guys offset earlier, I told you about monetary policy and fiscal policy. Now, this is where it's important for everybody to understand what monetary policy is. Fiscal policy is basically what government does when it spends its money and how it collects its revenue, or if it decides not to collect revenue, take the brunt, take a loan, spend some money on social projects. On the other hand, monetary policy is when the central bank gets involved in the economy, or at least in the financial system. We know the central bank is being a regulator, but what they also do is to control money supply. Now, if you want to get interest rates have to go down if you want to encourage people to probably borrow over the long term. Although I think that's really a medium-term strategy, it won't play out over 2 years. The central bank has to enter the market. And my suspicions are, and again, it just seems to make sense, that you might hear sooner rather than later that the central bank might be buying up a lot of treasury bills, all right? And selling them, actually selling their treasury bills that they have to push a lot of money into the economy to get things kicking up again. Because basically, given the fact that the banks have this short-term view, they might not even be looking at treasury bills anymore.
How would this help the government, though?
Sorry?
How would it help the government?
It's extra money coming in. Government is trying to borrow domestically for one reason alone, to protect its credit rating. And also, it's the easiest access to money and the cheapest. Again, they're not borrowing internationally, so in a way, the BBB- rating doesn't come into play domestically. They're less of a political risk. I mean, the hope is that you can get back your money anytime. There's this logic circulated in government that if you get more people to borrow domestically, all right, or not borrow, sorry, invest domestically in government bonds and treasury bills, that they keep rolling over the investment. My suspicion is, and this is where the central bank might have to act, okay, that might not be the truth. People will need cash. People need to be liquid. As far as I'm concerned, everybody in here would agree, even the cameraman, that cash is king right now. Because you don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months. So the fact is, a lot of people might not roll over their treasury bills. A lot of the private institutions might not be rolling over.
Just a second, Jeremy. Yeah, the tickets have been won, so you can stop calling now on that issue. However, if you want to discuss monetary and fiscal policies, the half-year report from the central bank, you may call us now and speak with Jeremy. But the tickets are gone. I don't know where the box offices are, but maybe we can help you with that. But the free ones, they're gone. All right, Jeremy, sorry.
Hey, at least I hope you guys buy some treasury bills too. Yeah. That's the hope. But no, what does that mean for Barbadians? A lot of Barbadians wanted to invest in treasury bills, but what I can call on is the fact that those rates are going to drop, and it's going to become probably the same as the savings rate in the bank.
So maybe you can say a little more about that, because you know, you just talked about when there's this kind of a recession, people usually don't want to spend any money, and if people are not spending any money, then that causes a bigger problem. So how do you get them to understand how to go about it in a responsible kind of way, so they feel comfortable and still keep things flowing, doing their part to keep things moving?
All right, I'm going into a bit of theory, but then I'll make it relevant. In a recession, you have to create, and I'm talking about the driver of the economy, governments have to create an enabling environment where people are allowed to spend, even on domestic products. The only problem with Barbados is that we import too much. Now, with that being said, you have to manage it efficiently. And the problem was that government went on a revenue, well, I can call it a revenue binge, when they should have gone on an expenditure cut. What that means is the VAT that went up and the allowances that were taken away took away a lot of Barbados' spending power. Yes, a lot was done to help the poor, but funny enough, a lot of our expenditure is really driven by the middle class, particularly in the fact that we are a services economy. A lot of those services are afforded by who? The middle class. They had to cut back on a lot of that expenditure. We've got basically a barter economy going on in Barbados at this point. People are very open to bartering. So one of the things that are coming out from the community, I'm talking about the economists that might not have published it as yet, but I'll say this much, okay, is that they think that VAT should go back down to 15% as an immediate measure. I don't think the minister would do that, to be honest. I don't think so. So the next thing is, how does government go about trying to cut its expenditure? And you know, there's this big talk about selling the port, privatizing the port, and Senator McLean made it very clear that it's not an option, and I believe her. I don't think that should be, but there are other non-governmental institutions or statutory corporations that might very well need a sale.
Okay. Jeremy, we could talk about this for many hours to come, but unfortunately we've run out of time. But thank you for shedding some light on the implications for John and Jane Q. Public of the Central Bank's half-yearly report delivered by Central Bank Governor Dr. July21. We are going to take a break, but when we come back, we are going shopping at Abbott's as Bridgetown comes alive.